was like, let's just be friends on Facebook because that's going to be the better way.
Okay. I need to shrink Linda's frame a little because
Neat.
the flashy green thing.
There we go. If I
done.
turn this way, you can see more of my fire.
Beautiful background.
The beautiful background.
We have like a spooky tree background because
20 minutes on.
I don't know where the
At
hell
some point I'll clean mine up. But you don't see mine anyway.
I don't know where the hell I put the curtain I was using for a while, like where the hell I put the file in moving computer things. And I had the Wonder Woman on there, like, oh wait, not doing that. What images do I have on my desktop? Oh, I have this spooky tree picture Rob took. Okay, so we are live.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Probably stop doodling then.
Do the sharing.
Hi, Kat. Are you just gonna sit here the whole time? Is that your plan?
On our page.
I think it's her plan. You are so loud. If my microphone was any closer to me, they would just hear you purring.
And Twitch. Tweeter.
Tweech.
Ah. Yeah, no, I don't want to be there anymore. Okay, I think that's everything.
Okay.
This has been a journey. I discovered that it's like I have my new fancy computer. Like, all right, everything's set up here, and everything's working, everything's fast. And Adobe, however, hasn't updated the Creative Suite to work with my fancy M1 chip. So it's going along fine. I'm doing our editing, and everything sounds good until I actually cut something out. You know, like some silence. Push the files back together, and then it's coming through and sounds kind of like you were describing my mic was doing earlier. It was
oh no.
Yeah.
What is going on? And then I deleted everything and I started doing it again, and the same thing happened. Like as soon as I did an edit, it would start doing this, and then it had like a mechanical tick 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 tick. And I was like,
that's weird.
So eventually I was like, well, I got one last thing it might be. So I loaded up Creative Suite on the PC and pushed all the files over there, and it works fine on the PC. So it must be that Adobe hasn't done that update yet for my chip. My chip is like, I don't know, too fast and overprocessed or something. Like, what the hell? All right. So, don't need to be looking at Patreon. I'll pull the notes up and start.
We got perspective, we got the cool, we got the muscle, and you know we effing rule. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills, alright. We got the know-how, we got control, we got the knowledge, and we tell you how it rolls. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills, alright. We are the Geek Grills, we are the Geek Grills, tonight. Hell yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 183 of
I'm hosting.
Grills. You are.
I'm hosting.
Oh, that's
You're
right,
hosting
because
next week. Ember, cut that out. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 183 of Geek Grills. I am Linda. I'm hosting today, and I'm joined by sorry, my cat is being wiggly. Get out of my lap then. Okay. I'm hosting today. The Geek Girls podcast is supported primarily by our patrons. You can find us at patreon.com/grills. I'm Linda, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ember.
Hi.
Who tried to take over the show today, and Ray.
Hello.
What can I say? It's Appreciated Dragon Day, so I can understand why. So that will be our topic. We'll get to our favorite dragons. We'll appreciate them. We'll tell you all the nifty things. It's kind of similar to the, our favorite magical creatures kind of show, but specifically dragons. And I love me some dragons. Got my little dice dragon buddy with me.
Aww.
So, what have you girls been up to? Ember?
Well, let me see. We prepared garden beds over here at the McCready household. More. And started some seeds indoors in those itty bitty peat pot pellet greenhouses. So I'm excited getting ready for that again. So much food. Like, I almost want to make more beds, except then there's the maintaining the garden, and, well, I don't want it to get out of hand, but I want more foods. I want all the foods. I experimented with a falafel recipe this week, which I love falafel so much, and the mix I used to buy, like the box stuff that you just add water, I can't find anymore, and I've tried like other brands, and they've all been terrible. So it's like, I mean, this can't be hard, right? So it's freaking chickpeas, and I have falafel seasoning from one of my favorite Middle Eastern places that also has like a little market attached. So I decided to make it, and somebody online in one of my cooking groups, gave me a recipe. It's like an easy starter thing, and I tweaked it with the seasonings I had, and it went pretty well. I'm trying to modify it it's a vegan recipe. I'm trying to modify it to also be gluten-free, because it's got like a little bit of flour in it, but I don't have garbanzo flour. But the recipe just uses regular flour. But if I'm making a vegan recipe to begin with, I may as well make it so that my friends who are gluten intolerant can also have it, because I seem to have a pile of those people. And then I tried modifying it today using rice flour, and that didn't work. So it's a texture issue, and I'm seeking a better solution. I might have to just buckle down and go ahead and get the garbanzo flour. Other than that,
Almond
it
flour?
tasted great.
Almond flour?
I'm
Would that
worried
work?
that would make it sweet, or the nuttiness would overcome some of the other spicing
Fair.
when you fry it.
I'm trying to remember. There's a flour that you use with like. They're like this Brazilian.
Oh,
I get it from
tapioca flour.
Yeah, tapioca flour. I think that might also have a texture issue, just because the tapioca flour tends to make things very, well, kind of glutinous. It's very chewy.
Yeah. And see, the problem I had the first batch was it was fine, except I didn't put enough flour in. When I made the first one, I just straight used the recipe except for the seasoning change. And the inside, I didn't put enough flour, so it was kind of bean. It didn't get any fluffiness to it, and it does need that little bit of rise. So I'm looking for a better solution. And the rice flour didn't work. There's not enough liquid in the mix to hydrate it enough, and it just kind of was falling apart. But then I added like 2 tablespoons of regular flour, and it held together fine. So I'll keep experimenting. I don't want to buy just gluten-free flour, like a wheat that's been processed. I figure there's got to be a better solution, and I've tapped one of my GF friends to help me with that. And, I'll keep you posted, because it's delicious. I mean, the seasoning and everything else in that recipe, and, well, the seasoning I have added to the proportions in the other recipe with the fresh herbs was really good. So, what else? I've been playing WoW. I'm at level 55 now. Been getting that sweet rested XP when we shut down in the evenings. Played some of our Nomad in Cyberpunk 2077 today. It's a little hard. Rob plays it more than I do. He just kind of does side quests with his own guy. And then he gets in and we're picking our perks and everything. I'm like, this isn't your character. We're doing something different. No, wait. Like, I want this spec. But it's fun. Rob got his 3D printer going and has been making the things. And today was like super exciting because, well, he went a little nuts the other night. We were talking about all the things we want to make, right? And he ordered a bunch of filament. So we got like Amazon guy delivered like 2 things of filament today. One is wood filament,
Oh,
which I didn't know
wow.
exists, and it actually has wood fiber in it. Like you can wood burn it, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Neat.
And the other is black because black is just basic. But a while ago,
Mhm.
he got this stuff. It's like marble-ish, like white with a little black in it. So today, well, it took 27 hours. He printed this dice tower,
Neat.
That's
So
awesome.
cool.
and I'm amazed at the magic of the dice tower. It's got a little gate in the front. It's got a
Mhm.
working hinge that you didn't have to assemble or anything. Like you just cut the little thing off the bottom, like the plate it was on, so it didn't stick, and then the little door at the hinge works. So I don't know how you print that, but it did, and it worked. And before the show, we ran over to our friend Bruce, who has been our DM in the past for long periods of time, and gave him his dice tower. And now, well, I'll talk about what I'm looking forward to because something's printing for me right now. I also got,
I before you say the next thing, I will say your camera has frozen on the picture of
okay,
the dice
whatever.
tower. I mean, it's a good picture of the dice tower, but that's all I can
Yep.
see.
I don't care. Well, then it doesn't help me with the next picture, but you know,
Oh,
that's how that goes. I also got today a book in the mail. It's Whispering Oaks Academy, The Door to Anywhere by Daniel Alberger. And the special thing about this book, it looks really interesting and everything, but this is my son's English teacher
Oh, neat.
wrote this
nice.
book. And it looks like it's going to be really cool. And I'll let everybody know. It's some kind of like, it's like fantasy, mystery, high tech gadgets, but it's set in, a school. And I'm really looking forward to that. I took it the package in my son's room when it arrived. I said, "You want brownie points? You should probably read this." And he opens up. He's like, "Oh, I heard about this." I'm like, "It looks like it's good. Just read it." Like, that's a cool teacher. Like, he podcasts and stuff too. Like, come on. So, what have you been up to, Ray?
Nothing much. Well, no, that's a lie. I've actually had a bunch of projects I started. So I'm working on a Sailor Moon punk vest. My studs have not shown up, but I was able to pick up fabric paint yesterday.
It looks so good. It looks professional, Ray.
It does.
I don't know. It looks a little better now. Apparently, the puffiness of the paint has gone down, but it still has weird bubbly texture that I hate with fabric paint. It's just me. Even my husband is like, it looks fine from as soon as I get 5 feet of distance, and I'm like, okay, I'll let it go.
Have you
Maybe.
ever tried doing what I've been doing, like getting the medium and mixing it with acrylic instead of buying fabric paint? Because I do think fabric paint, whenever I've gotten that, it tends to be puffy.
I've thought of that after, so I might try and do, because I haven't finished the moon part. I want to get that fuller. So I might go ahead and try that. I just also, the paint that I got reacts to glow. It glows in the dark. So I'm also I don't want to mix it too much and lose that effect. The other thing is I started just as a relaxing thing, because the first thing I ever learned how to draw was animals, not people, even though I draw a ton of people now. So I started working on a pet portrait for my friend Amy, who is a huge David Bowie fan and has named her pets Ziggy and Rebel for Rebel Rebel. So I did the Ziggy one last year.
That's so cute. I love it.
So I'm doing the companion piece. And Rebel is not done yet. I just got the basic color blocking in, obviously. But he has a patch, or he's going to have a very distinguished patch, not just one eye, I promise. And then, the only other one is the dragon that I started for lunch. Dude. It's a little chibi Ysera from WoW.
Yay.
It was my favorite WoW dragon. I think that's it. We managed to watch. We binged Queen's Gambit over the weekend, which is really, really good. Like Scott was watching it, and I was listening to it because the TV is like right next to me, and I'm like, there's just points where I'm like, I'm gonna stop playing WoW, and I'm just gonna sit over here and watch. It seems way more interesting than doing what I was doing in WoW. So, and then yeah, I was playing WoW. I have my alt is up to 55, so I'm trying to get her up to 60 now. That way I'll have one horde and one alliance. And then I think that's it. Oh, Monster Prom. I finally got another achievement unlocked. Which means I'm one step closer to getting the achievement where it tells me to go outside and stop playing the game. Which is what I'm really waiting for. That's it. How about you, Linda?
I'm working more on the baby blanket that I started last week. I've got about 5 strips now, 5 of 14, because then they'll all get put together. It's turning out really pretty. It's this really pretty, like, pale pink and pale green, and it's like got a cream in there, and it's not. I know, no kitty. I know that she's gonna have a baby girl, but it's not like specifically girl colors. It's kind of both, and I prefer that. And she really liked the colors when I showed them to her, so no problems there. The fight with the wingback chair for reupholstery continues.
Uh-oh.
It's still in the demo stages. I've gotten the back off of it. My husband actually joined me for a bit and was like helping me get tacks out. There's so many holes. I'm gonna have to put wood filler in it. It's like it's gonna be held together with wood filler. I'm just gonna have to like sand it and restain it or paint it or something. And I now have upholstery conspiracy theories going on in my head because, as you know, my mother listens to our podcast. And she said, well, first she was like, I want some of those cat macaron toys. And I was like, okay. And she said, you know, you have upholstery like in your bloodline, right? Because your great grandfather had an upholstery shop. And I was like, really? Because she still has like his upholstery hammer that is made out of leather instead of like wood or metal. And I'm like, and he had it apparently in the 60s. And I'm like, this chair is from the 60s. What if it was put together by him and I am now taking it apart? I'm just like, it would make sense because the way that my father puts things together, he puts in way more nails or way more glue or way more tape than it needs. And I'm like, it could run in the family. There's too many tacks.
Kind of like you stitch too tight. Is that?
And I stitch too tight, and I put in way too many stitches for when I'm making costuming, and I like go over it more than I need to. So that's what's happening in my brain. It's still going, but I'm like it, and we figured out like with all of the number of tacks and with how the cushion has been made. It's literally somebody took 2 pieces of fabric, sewed channels into it, and then stuffed it. And I'm like, this was handmade. This chair and these cushions were like handmade. So I'm just going to go to Joann's and get a regular cushion and just have a flat back. I don't care about the ridges anymore. That is just, it is too much. I'm not going to take it and do channels and stuff them. No. One piece of foam is going to do me. It's like, oh my god. So that's going. I played some more House Flipper. Just because it's kind of a chill, like, it's a chill game. So it's just like, hey, House Flipper. Woo! It's so easy to flip a house. It's so easy to do these repair projects.
I might need your assistance for a real one. No, I'm kidding.
Only if I can paint as easily as I can in the game. And I don't think I can. I made some oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. It turned out real good. It was a box mix, but I got it when the World Market that's near us was going out of business like a couple of weeks ago. So we'll probably never have them again because I don't know where to buy that box mix from, and I don't even remember what it was called, and I threw the box away. But they're good cookies.
All go out of business? Like the company as a whole?
I don't think so. I think it was just the one near us.
Okay.
But I don't know where another one is.
Well, there's
World Market?
one
We've got one here.
down by the mall, and then there's the one off 41.
Is the one off 41 closed?
Yeah, because that's the one that I never made it out to. I should have.
Which is hilarious. I got there on like the last day. They literally had 3 like bookshelves left of things, and there was just like 4 or 5 of us circling it like a shark.
Deals.
Yes. Let's see. It wasn't randomly, but I rewatched Frozen 2 because I happened in my scrolling around on YouTube, I found a couple of videos that were like analyzing the musical themes in Frozen 2. This is done by the videos are by Howard Ho, and I was intrigued. I was like, oh hey, I really like this, and he gets super nerdy, and it's all music theory and like going into the chord structure, but then he explains it, and I rewatched it, and I was just listening kind of to the soundtrack, going, oh look, there's that theme there, that's that theme here, they've tied this together here. Oh look, that's from the first movie. So I was just being a giant music nerd while I was rewatching Frozen 2. But what that has led to is I am now in the planning stages for a Queen Aduna cosplay. Because that's exactly what I need, is another cosplay to work on.
Never enough.
Never enough. I only have 3 others that I want to do for the next conventions that I go to.
Oh, boy.
What's one more?
No big deal.
You know?
Make it up for lost time.
I guess. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into our topic today, which it is Appreciate a Dragon Day. I do believe today is the actual day for us when we're recording on the 18th, so it'll be a couple days after, but you can always appreciate a dragon, yes? So, we just kind of decided that we're gonna, like, pick our favorite dragons and then kind of go into why they're our favorites. Let me see. Hold on. Let me open the actual Appreciate a Dragon Day thing. Appreciate a Dragon Day began when Danita K. Paul wanted to celebrate the publishing of her first fantasy novel, Dragonspell, part of the 5-volume series, The Dragon Keeper Chronicles. So this was made up, I think, quite recently. But you know what? It's fine. So was Pi Day. So
But dragons have been around for like long ever time.
Oh yeah. There's tons of one of the best kind of like YouTube videos I've seen about like dragon lore is by Overly Sarcastic Productions, and she's like, I cannot even begin to scratch the surface because dragon doesn't even mean like scales and wings. Dragon can be a whole host of different things, but it's very it's intriguing about how she's explaining why dragons are such a big part of mythology and how like every mythology has some thing referred to as a dragon. Like almost every mythology, I think, has something. So who wants to start with their favorite dragon? I mean, I can start, but
Ray, why don't you start? I'm posting links in
Yeah.
the chat.
No, I
That
can
kind of
I can
shit.
start. I already drew little chibi Sura there, who's a dragon in WoW. She actually has in the last expansion, like she's always kind of been there, but the last expansion she gets maybe the one before that. It might be Legion and not Battle for Azeroth. Yeah, I think it's Legion. She has a nice storyline that kind of wraps her up, and it's like the cinematic for it is absolutely gorgeous, with her like raising into the sky with the moon. She's a whole moon motif, so you know that's why she's my favorite. Uh, and it's just like one of those things that I absolutely adore. Um, and so yeah, and wow, like dragons are a big thing. Like there's like I think there's 5 of them, and they're just they were there when the world was created, and they're a big deal. So she's my favorite. And I think she's one of the younger ones actually. I'm trying to pull it up. And I think she was also in
She always
classic,
had
like
an
the one that
amazing
was
story
sleeping
too.
that you
Yeah.
could find in Duskwood. Like if you went into the crater, there was a portal that was supposed to take you to the Emerald Dream, but you couldn't go there because nobody could go to the Emerald Dream, especially in classics that wasn't open yet. But I think that that was Ysera in the Dragonblight sleeping. Ha! I was right. Okay. But yeah, that's my favorite WoW one, but like hands down my favorite one of all time is Falkor, the luck dragon from Neverending Story, because of course he is.
Of course.
That is like one of my favorite movies, so
I think like
I still will rewatch that movie. It's
I think 80s and 90s, like specifically, I think 80s babies, that may have been like their introduction to dragons was Falkor because of that movie.
oh yeah, like I remember that movie. Like I
Mhm.
don't really remember. Like I remember bits of Legend and bits of Dark Crystal. Like I've rewatched Dark Crystal and Legend
Mhm.
since, so I have a better. But like I remember bits of them from my childhood. But like vivid memories of Neverending Story, and just like this beautiful. And it was fuzzy. And it never dawned on me before dragons could be fuzzy and soft. And I'm like, I want to ride Falkor around. I want to be like Sebastian and be like, yeah. So that is hands down my favorite. And they're just so fluffy and looks like a big old puppy. And he's
Mhm.
awesome.
Of course.
That's all I got. Like I can fan over it. Like at some point I would love to go to, I think in Germany they have the set still from the Neverending Story, along with like part of Falkor that you could see, and I'm like but that requires me going abroad, so that's probably gonna be a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it right now.
Oh, definitely not right now.
No.
American, turn around. Go back.
Right?
Go back.
So it was really hard to really use, like, who's your favorite dragon, because there's so much. I was like, well, I mean, I kind of really want to go to Kalecgos, which is it's another WoW dragon, but they really did with the different aspects of the kind of the whole spiritual circle realms in WoW. They did these amazing origin stories for them, and I love you, Sarah, too. Oh my god, when Sarah died, I was like weeping, and that whole storyline. But I think part of my attachment with Kalecgos, who was like Jaina's boyfriend for a while, I would say I first got hooked on dragons reading the Dragonlance novels when I was in like high school or just after, and I never got into like the D&D, the chromatic dragons being all like bad, and or the being good and the colored ones being bad, but it was really interesting having different breath weapons and such based on color was very interesting to me, and that's something in the WoW, like they have different abilities that are based in the color, but the Kryn dragons in Dragonlance did have a human aspect. And dragons are so often portrayed as having intelligence, right? They're beasts and they have hordes and they live in caves and, voracious appetites and whatever, but they're very often portrayed as some kind of intelligence and are used to represent spiritual growth and all that kind of thing. So that kind of always grabbed me. So Kalecgos, and I've always had a thing for blue-haired anime. Blue-haired anime people, like, whew, I don't know. So his being in touch, like, with his and living in his human body so much, I think, really made me grabbed by that story from a dragon. Like, it's like that humbling trope of someone choosing mortality type situation,
Mhm.
for love, and to like live in the bounds of a human body, is it's super super interesting to me. Although I love Toothless from How to Train a Dragon because my cat Bagheera, I have a Russian blue cat, and it's the movies came out. We're like, oh my god, it's Bagheera.
It's a cat in dragon form. Woo!
Yeah, you know. Um, and I did want to mention, I've talked about this briefly on the show before. I don't know how it came up, but I wanted to make sure to mention because I think it's super super interesting about um, Krakow, Poland. Do you guys remember me talking about this before? Like Krakow, there's a lot of different stories about how it was named, but they all have a dragon in them. There's like a whole bunch of
Mhm.
different stories, but what they all have in common is they all involved a dragon. And I'll put in our notes, and I'll put in the chat now a really cool story from Atlas Obscura about Walwell Dragon's Den. This cave has been like it's housed a dragon, a brothel, and an enduring legend. But it tells like the different stories about how Krakow was supposedly named that involves dragons. And I have a friend who had like been there. It was one of his destinations when he was in Poland. Like, I have to see that cave because they put like it's a tourist attraction. They have a dragon statue there and stuff. So I want to go there someday when we can travel again and see dragon origin places.
Yes.
So how about you, Linda?
Well, so I the first time I got like into like dragon stuff as actually the Dragon Riders of Pern, because my mom had a bunch of those books while I was growing up, and I love the so much. I love the books so much so that the very first like proto fan fiction I ever wrote was about Dragon Riders of Pern. It was awful. I remember very distinctly, like, so it had something to do with eggs falling into the sea. It was bad. Anyway, uh, but growing up, most of the dragons that I like knew about in either fiction or folklore were like the Western dragons, and a lot of Western dragons get a bad rap. Because a lot of Western dragons are like bad. But then like Miyazaki came out with Spirited Away, and Haku is my favorite dragon because he's just he also looks kind of fluffy, but I think it's supposed to be scales, but he does have like the flowy like fluffy hair, and you know also turns into a cute boy, so that's a plus. But it's just I really like his kind of story and character arc in the movie, and so it's not just like character design because the character design is very cool. I really like the kind of Asian dragon design anyway, where it's just kind of like a snaky body. There's no wings. They just kind of fly like they're swimming through water. And they did that really awesomely because it's it's Studio Ghibli, and so it's a gorgeous movie. And it's just him like remembering that he in the Japanese version, remembering that he's actually a god of this river that, with spoilers I guess, that was like drained, and like getting his memories back and just kind of like growing into his strengths I guess. And I just he's such a cinnamon bun. I love the cinnamon bun dragon. And it's just it's a combination of like the character arc and also the character design. And I guess I did see Dragon Ball like before I saw Spirited Away, so I was familiar with like the big kind of once you get through the 8 million episodes to where they actually summon the Wish Dragon.
I was gonna
and
ask,
you
is
get
there
to
actually
see it.
dragons in Dragon Ball Z? I didn't even know that. I've never watched.
Yeah. You get all the
There
Dragon
are-
Balls, you can summon the one dragon.
But each set of Dragon Balls has a different dragon.
Yeah.
So the little ones that are on Earth have like a little dragon that is like snaky. And then the big ones that are on Namek, sorry, this is going way into nerd territory. The big ones on Namek have this
Why
like
would you
beefy
apologize
dragon.
for that?
He literally has like biceps.
If you want to know more, you can watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
That is a much better use of your time than watching Dragon
I'm
Ball.
not
Like straight
doing
up.
that. I do
Unless
not
you're like a
care.
diehard Dragon Ball Z fan,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
I mean,
interrupt your love. I'm
you
just
do
saying
you.
the Abridged is the only way I got through all those stories.
Yeah, you do you, but the abridged version, A, is fast and B, is hilarious. So, yeah, so, like, I don't know, I mean, obviously, I have dragons everywhere. There's dragon there's dragon back there, there's an actual painting of Haku up there, there's dragons over here, there's a dragon up there, you can't see him. He's my Halloween dragon.
You know, my husband, when he asked me what
My
we were
Halloween-
talking about this week, and I said, we were talking about like our favorite dragons. He was like, Mushu. Is yours Mushu? I'm like, no.
Mushu. eh.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you think that? I mean, Mushu's fun, but there's so much more
yeah.
going on with so many dragons.
Oh, yeah.
He's fun and, infinitely quotable, but I don't know how much of that is the dragon and how much of that is Disney and how much of that is Will Smith.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie
Yep.
Murphy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Eddie Murphy. Why? Cut that out, Ember, cut that out.
I don't think we're going to get sued.
No, I feel silly because I'm a Disney fan and like literally my brain went bleh.
Right. Yeah, it happens. But I mean, in Chinese culture, Japanese are like dragons are like the highest of the hierarchy in animals. Right? And I was looking up the origins of the word too, and we've been talking about how there's different types and everything, and sometimes they can be fuzzy, but I mean, the word comes from like sea dragons and serpentine, and they're associated with water and a lot of different cultures. So I don't know where the fuzzy comes in.
I don't, there's Norse dragons, there's Chinese dragons, there's European dragons, there's oh god.
I mean, it's fascinating that they show up in every culture in some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and part of it though, you have to wonder. It's like because they are so varied, you wonder how much of it is a dragon shows up, and how much of it is somebody from another culture with the language going. You're describing this huge, great creature to me. I'm going to call it a dragon. Is that okay?
Please.
Oh, it's
Like,
like
I always
these
fe-
things
Oh,
we
go ahead.
have called dragons, right?
Mhm.
Well, and a lot of it, people theorize because they couldn't explain dinosaur bones.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was going to say is like, there's dinosaur bones all across the world. So, like, you find these giant bones, you're like, what is this monster? I need to come up with a story of like what this is and why it's here. So,
Mhm.
And so many of them would have had like long tails.
Yeah. Long tails. Like if somebody happened to find like a plesiosaur, but maybe not the flippers, maybe they just found the really long. That would explain. That would partially explain like the Asian lore of them. But there's also
Well, I wonder if that's where the idea of the wings come from, because somebody who would
Maybe.
be digging up bones and trying to actually put them together. Because like now we know how that works, right? Like have y'all seen Alton Brown explaining how to cut a chicken up because you can use the dinosaur model because the
Yeah.
bone structure be the same.
because
I
they're
wonder if
related.
somebody was doing that and went, "Oh my god, it had wings."
Yeah, because I mean, even as recently as like the 1800s, the when they were putting together like the first um T-Rex skeletons, they literally broke his back to have him be standing upright like that, because T-Rexes actually are supposed to stand kind of like horizontal, not vertical. But yeah, it would make total sense if they found like these things that, all they would find, they don't find the actual flipper parts. All they find is the bones that are going out into it. And it's like, oh, these look like bat wings. So, anything's possible with our human imaginations and finding weird things.
Well, that's the difference between wyvern and dragon in some explanations. Because I found myself looking up that stuff when I was getting my tattoo done, started on my back, that will be finished soon. Because there's the Guardians of the Gates of the Dreaming in Gaiman's Sandman lore, and like there's a dragon and a hippogriff, but there's also a wyvern, and I'm like, well, what the hell is the difference? And it's like having 2 legs or 4 legs plus wings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then
It's
does
not
that count
consistent.
against, the Asian dragons, which don't have wings at all? But,
Right. And sometimes no legs.
Mhm. I love the fact that that one of the theories about George and the Dragon, which George is the Saint George from English folklore, is that he somehow, nobody is explaining how, he somehow was fighting a crocodile. And that's where the story came from, because it was like, oh, it's scaly and it's got a huge mouth full of teeth and, this long serpentine tail. But yeah, some people were like, maybe it was an alligator. And I'm like, okay, first of all, how did an alligator get into England? I think he was in England. Or maybe it was mid-Europe. I don't know.
Somebody picked one up as a baby, brought it back. It's like the hippos in the Amazon now.
Yeah.
They just go wild.
Rawr. Hippos are no joke, man.
Don't mess with hippos.
Don't mess with
Yeah, the
hippos.
St. George and the Dragon thing directly, it's another one of those things where Christianity decided to demonize something to have a common enemy when they were adopting everybody else's culture. Like, look, they have these stories they tell, but it's about a big serpentine thing, so we can say they're bad.
Mhm.
I mean, it has leathery wings and claws. Obviously, it's satanic.
Yes.
Evil.
Yeah.
So we'll write a
was trying to-
story and saint a fictional person for killing
Good.
a fictional thing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean, they think George was an actual person, but George was based on an actual person, is what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
But just like they, with the King Arthur myth, they were taking bits and pieces and then putting it together with the culture that they had at that time, instead of culture way back when. So of course he would be in full plate with a spear and a sword. It's like, it's not knights. Knights didn't dress like that all the time. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm trying to remember. That
Romantic.
This conversation has reminded me of. There is a creature in folklore that is a very I'm trying to remember the name of it, but they basically described it like it had leopard spots and hooves, and the tail. Was it the tail of a goat? And the head of a snake or something like that, and horns. And if you take all those separate things and you think real hard about it, you realize that somebody was describing a giraffe. But since they were from the middle of Europe and had never ever seen a giraffe and didn't know what to call it, they were just describing it how they knew how. And some poor court scribe was trying to draw this creature and was just like, here, this is obviously what you said. God, I'm trying to remember what creatures.
I feel like there's a recount of an elephant that's very similar to that as well.
Oh, that sounds like
Yeah.
the blind people trying, or the people, yeah, they're blind. They can only touch part of it, trying to describe what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that one, but I also like I thought like the first time like was it Romans or like the first time they saw elephants, like they're just like, what the heck? This giant beast and horns coming out of its mouth and a snake on its face. What the heck?
Is that it? No,
Snake on the
that's not it.
face.
Did you know that the writers of How to Train Your Dragon actually created an entire language for the dragons?
Oh, that's so
Language
cool.
that dragons speak and How to Train Your Dragon is called Dragonese. And there's a whole
Yay.
universe of words. Oh
Those are such
boy,
good
I'm gonna have to be
movies.
careful not to go down that rabbit hole. I love doing that kind of thing, like writing in a weird language like that and sending it to somebody. That's fun.
I can't. Is that what it is? Hold, now it's gonna bother me. Okay.
Yeah, I think the first time I found like dragons was like my dad has a huge D&D collection, so as a kid I would look at like the covers of his dragon magazines which had dragons or pretty fantasy pictures on them, or like I would go flip through his monster manual. So like I knew what dragons looked like before I saw Neverending Story, and that's I think the main reason why it just stuck with me. I'm like, they can be fuzzy.
Oh, is this what it was? Hold on,
Yeah,
let me
for
look.
me,
Yes,
like I said,
it was the questing beast. It's literally called the questing beast.
Ah,
okay.
So it has the head and neck of a snake, the body of a leopard, the haunches of a lion, and the feet of a hart, which is a deer. And its name comes from the great noise that it emits from its belly, a barking like 30 hounds questing.
Neat.
If you think real hard about it,
giraffe.
a giraffe.
I'm thinking back to when the giraffes started to come close to us at
Mhm.
Animal Kingdom. We're just stuck there.
Yeah, we were like, "Hi, giraffes. How you doing?"
Hi, please
Um,
don't eat us.
You are so tall. You are so tall. Have I told you how tall you are? Oh, back when we could go to Disney World.
I know.
It was fun. But yeah, so that was a tangent.
Just a
I was
little.
just like, well, if you think about it, if I'm trying to think of other like equivalents that if somebody looked at this and they were like, I don't know how to describe this. So it's got this animal, and this animal. It's a dragon, and that's folklore is like the worst game of telephone.
And still, there are amazing similarities in
Mhm.
all different world cultures of these dragons. Like the imagery from, ancient. I mean, it's because stories were passed down, I guess.
Mhm.
There's ancient pottery in Rome and Egypt.
Yeah, because you get the Roman the Roman and Greek like just kind of pantheon of nasty critters, and they have like the Hydra, which is definitely a dragon,
Mhm.
according to them, even though it's got 8 million heads. They had another one that I can't remember right now off the top of my head. They had several different creatures that were like, yeah, that's draconic. We call that a dragon.
Yeah.
So, any wrap up thoughts about your favorite dragons? I mean,
Oh, dragons are cool.
keep doing what they're doing.
And now I have giraffes on the brain.
Now you're giraffes on the
Now
brain.
you're distracted by giraffe dragons.
The giraffe questing beast. There's your tidbit of information. I am a font of useless folkloric information. That is my contribution for this podcast episode. Tell us, comment to us. Tell us if you want me to random folklore tidbits every episode. I'll do it.
Tell us what your favorite dragon is.
Yeah, that too. To get back on track. Thanks, Ray.
Finger guns.
So please comment with your favorite dragon, and remember to give metaphorical snuggles to the greatest dragons, as it is Appreciated Dragon Day. So you can chime in by emailing us at geekgrills@gmail.com, and you can also tweet to us at geekgrills. So what are you two most anticipating right now?
We didn't even talk about game dragons. Holy moly.
Oh yeah, so there's a whole thing with like D&D and all that.
Yeah, we have
Tiamat.
users that are...
You want to
Yep.
get super nerdy. It's another thing. If you want us to get super nerdy and talk about game dragons, we will come back and visit that. Just let us know.
Well, game creatures. Holy moly.
Yeah, game creatures. We'll just pull out the book, the monster manual.
That would be interesting. So speaking of dragons, I don't know. I guess it's not against terms of service, right? It's my back. I'm gonna show you my dragon that is.
Oh my goodness, that's
so
awesome.
pretty.
I've got my Sandman stuff on there, but I'm finally getting the color. He will be blue, maybe some purple in there. Hopefully green eyes. So my friend Holden will be getting my tattoo finished up on Friday. I have a lot of hours into this tattoo. It was covering a tattoo, so it had to be certain dimensions to cover that. I didn't think I was a person who's going to have... I wasn't a back piece person. And now I am. All in. So I will be getting my dragon finished. And I could talk about the representation for me that it is, but that's another show. The other thing is what Rob is printing for me. We got that wood filament, and he's going to make me a dice tower for all my gaming nerd needs. I miss playing D&D, but it'll hold me over to play with in the meantime. And I think it's almost the same print as the other one. It's just going to be a smaller scale because that thing was huge. And if you could see the details on it, it had the embossed, looked like it had shields on it and stuff, and on the back it had what looked like vines on it. So I may give a go at doing some wood burning on this wood filament, because you supposedly can. And so I'm excited about that as my next little craft project.
Cool. Ray?
No, I'm just planning on I want to get Rebel done. Now that I got the paint, I picked up additional paint supplies over the weekend. So I just want to get those paintings done, and hopefully I'll have my studs so I can start studding the vest and look into getting some patches, because you can't have a punk jacket without patches.
I might have some extra ones left over from a certain character I used to play.
Excellent.
And then as for me, I will continue the reupholstery fight. I'm either going to just buy the wood filler or see if my father has extra. He probably does in his shop somewhere. My God. It's like part of me is like, screw this project, and another part of me is like, I am going to be so proud of myself when I get done with this. I just have to push through and get to the end point. And then a little side note, I really shouldn't start another kind of craft. I really shouldn't, but I have been eyeing dice molds and resin online. I've been doing research because I'm like, it would be neat to pour my own resin dice. That would be neat. But I don't know if I should start another craft. So we'll see where that goes.
Isn't it funny when you do crafts, people we don't do that to ourselves enough. People are always like, "Hey, have you ever done this? I bet you'd be great at this." Stop.
Enough.
Don't do that to me. I won't be able to help myself. I learned something interesting about upholstery today.
Yeah?
Go ahead and share with you because you were talking about the upholstery quick and from Bob Ross, because I was watching the Bob Ross Twitch stream, as I am wont to do on nice relaxing holidays. And when you take apart old upholstery and it's got that black stuff in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know what that is?
What is it?
It's Spanish moss. They
Oh,
used to
fun!
collect it when he lived in Florida when he was a kid. They would collect it and boil it and sell it to upholstery makers. And being that I've lived down in Florida where there is all that Spanish moss and it's got those mites in it. I mean, which is I imagine why they boil it. Like I made the mistake when I moved there and I didn't know any better and I was touching it. So and now that I learned today that that's what that black stuff is in the upholstery, I'm so grossed out and want to throw away this chair I have. But,
Don't worry, all of the insides of that chair and the fabric is going away once I have like drawn out what I need from it. I'm just like, nope, I'm not reusing that. It's gross.
Yeah. So remember, folks, you can always come watch us record live at twitch.tv/geekgrills on most Monday evenings. Our next one will be on January 25th at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
And in addition to the subs and bits that we get on Twitch, we are supported by our amazing patrons. You are the greatest girlfriends on the internet. You can become a patron at www.patreon.com/girls. Also, shout out to Abby, our newest patron. Yay!
Yes,
And,
you did join in November, and we're sorry we missed that.
Still newest patron.
Still newest patron.
And don't forget, if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to us for free every month on Twitch.
And another way to show your support is by leaving us a review. You can do so on any of your podcast catchers. Leaving a review is free, and they help our ranking, which helps other people find our podcast. Also, you can join our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter if you'd like to help spread the word. So where can we find you, girls, on the interwebs?